Hello, and welcome to the Profit Lab show and podcast. I'm your host, Marie Torossian, CPA and 10X certified business coach, and I'm so glad you are here. If you're new to the show, go ahead and subscribe or follow wherever you are watching or listening to us on the platform that you of your choice, so you can go ahead and get alerts when we drop new episodes, which is every Wednesday at noon Eastern time. Today, we're continuing with pillar number 11, which is all about time mastery and CEO discipline. We're going to focus on what are the routines you're going to have to do, the schedules that you're going to keep to be able to stay productive and in control of your week. Sounds good? Let's get started. Okay. Why do routines matter more than motivation? That is the question. The answer is motivation is unreliable, but routines are not. High-performing CEOs don't wait to feel like it. They just decide in advance, put it on the calendar, and show up whether they feel like it or not. Have you been in that situation where you just don't feel like it? You don't want to show up? Grant Cardone says, at part of the 13 rules of success, the first rule of success is to show up. So show up, whether you feel like it or not. But that's not going to happen if you have not built your discipline. Here's some things when motivation-based leadership could look like, right? A business owner that posts content only when inspired, but the lead flow is inconsistent, right? You can't just post only when you're inspired. You have to have a schedule of content that's already set up, scheduled to go out on a consistent basis. Now, you can add another post while you're in that very inspired mode. There's nothing wrong with that, but just it's about building that discipline. Another motivational example is like when a CPA owner, for example, reviews numbers only when they're stressed out. So decisions become reactive. You don't want that. You want everything to be in a scheduled, consistent, disciplined manner. Routines are basically, or discipline. When you build your discipline, that's how you stop basically paying the chaos tax. Do you want to pay a chaos tax? I don't. All right. So here's the 3 core CEO routines that I'm going to cover today. Number 1, daily startup routine. Number 2, the daily shutdown routine. And then number 3, the weekly CEO review and reset. All right. So the first one, let's get into it. The first one is going to be the daily startup, which is going to be about 15, 30 minutes on your calendar every morning. You're going to ask yourself, what are my top 3 outcomes for today? What are the 3 things that I'm definitely going to have to do? And it's that biggest impact in my business or for my business. What must happen today for this day to be a win, right? We want to have wins every day. One of the things that I do always with my coaching clients is that as soon as they show up, we say hello, and I'm like, what is a win you want to share, right? Every day we want to have a win. You want to share your win? Make sure you put it in the chat, and I'm going to support you through that, okay? Remember, this is a very interactive podcast. I want you to be able to put in the comments, your thoughts, your comments, things that you're thinking of. What are the things that you're learning right from the podcast? And let's have a conversation. And number 3, so we said 3 outcomes for today. You want to, figure out what is going to make today a win. And the third thing, what could you delegate or delete or just delay? Like, it's not a priority. Delays are not always a bad thing. You can delay something if it's not a priority. For example, I had a family situation a couple of weeks ago, actually, and I had to delay quite a lot of things. I had to move my schedule and clear it up for 2-3 days because I had to take care of a family member in my household. So that's something that's important, So that morning, I was making some really tough decisions because I had to be in the hospital. Then I had to have a few days of taking care of this family member. So, the calendar has to shift. So every morning, check your calendar and check your pipeline, right? Pipeline for your sales calls. And then choose your first deep work block. What is that going to be? What is that first time? Because for many of us, the morning before the craziness of the day happens, it's a really good time to do focused, deep dive work. So then when you're looking at the 3 outcomes from there, then bring it down to like, what is the first one that I'm going to focus on that's going to take that deep dive work? Okay. So I'm going to give you some examples now for some top three outcomes you can consider for your day. Let's say you follow up with 5 warm leads, right? 5 people that they've been introduced to you, they've been referred to you. Those are warm leads. You might want to follow up with them first thing. A second one could be delivery capacity for the week. So maybe there's some work that needs to be done, and the delivery timelines need to be adjusted. So you want to take a look at that. And another example could be, maybe a pricing or a scope decision. Maybe there's some type of a decision you have to make on the strategy of, some pricing. So these could be just examples, of course, just 3 outcomes that you want to look at for the day, and then decide which one you want to start with. All right. Now, going into the second one, which is the daily shutdown routine. This could be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes at the end of each day. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to be reviewing what you accomplished for the day. I think this is something we skip so many times. Like we finish work and we just like shut down the laptop and step away. You're like, I'm done. But I think it's really important to give yourself 15, 20 minutes just to think through, okay, here's my accomplishments. And then maybe you look at some things that you really didn't get to, but it still needs to be done. So these are some tasks. You might move it to the next day or the day after, just to make sure that you're finding that right time for it to still happen. So nothing gets missed. If you just didn't get to it, I mean, other things come up sometimes. You didn't get to it, it doesn't get lost. It gets moved up to another location in your calendar, always scheduled, so you can work on it. And then again, one of the other things you get to towards the end of the day is just really deciding what is the next tomorrow's top 3 things, right? So that way you're actually ahead of the game. You know exactly what you're going to work on the following day. It just makes the morning routine a lot faster for the following day. So this basically prevents also your CEO brain from following you to bed. Have you actually just been wide awake? You can't put anything aside. Your mind is going into all the different things that needs to be done. My goodness, that could be so exhausting, right? You can't get a good night's sleep because your mind keeps working. It used to happen to me all the time whenever I did financial analysis, deep dives into trends and numbers, so I have to have some kind of a wrap up for the day. Otherwise, it just keeps going in there. And if I haven't solved that one item, it will probably my brain will keep working all through the night until it finds that number. So one of the geeky things about me. But so as a CEO, though, like one of the things I like to do is to just wrap up for the day and say, you know what, here's the things that I completed. Here's the things that I'm going to have to move it to the next day or the day after, and just find the right place for it, and just getting ahead of like, what am I going to focus on tomorrow? And I've wrapped up the day. I go to my family already wrapped up. The work is behind me. I don't have to worry about it, and I can be fully present for my family. So the third thing, right? We talked about the morning routine, the evening routine, and now we're going to talk about the weekly CEO review and reset. And this could be anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. This is more about working on the business. So reviewing things that happen. So for me, I've actually scheduled this time to be on Saturday morning when everybody's sleeping and I'm not going to be disturbed by anything. That's when I'm going to be working on it. So you might have a different day that's more convenient for you. For me, this is one of the things I've done for Saturday morning. So on that weekly review, you're going to look at the money, right? The revenue, profit, cash runway. Where are we at? Okay, for the week. Other metrics, let's say, how many leads you got this week, how many sales calls, any delivery, any capacity of those things that needs to be done, any work that needs to be allocated to the team, those type of things. And then the momentum, what moved the needle and what didn't. I think this is something we skip quite a lot. We can look at all the KPIs, the money, the financial KPIs, other metrics, and for the sales. But we don't really look at what really moved the needle. And then we just get into this loop, and it happens to all of us, right? And we just get into this loop of just doing and doing and doing and doing, but not really looking at like what we're doing. Is it actually moving the needle? I think this is a very, very important question to ask yourself every time that you're doing that strategy, that time where just CEO review. So once you do that review, what you want to do is just set the top 3 priorities for the coming week. So for example, on Saturday, if I'm doing this review, I'm going to say, okay, for the coming week, Monday through Friday, what are the top 3 priorities that I need to achieve for that week? And then put it on the calendar if they're not. Sometimes it's already there. Maybe, I do try to plan ahead as often as possible. I'm one of those that I have my, every task and everything that I need to respond to. For example, in June, I'll be speaking at the Florida Institute of CPAs at the mega conference. And I have 2 different speaking opportunities. So I have to, there's some content to create, the presentation to put together. So those are things that are part of what I do. So it's something I want to put on the calendar and make sure that I submit everything timely. So that those would be, for example, just examples of priorities that you could set for the following week. Okay, this is a due date, which reminds me I have to submit something by May 18, but I'm going to submit it early because I'm going to be busy this weekend. I'm going to the Wealth Conference and I'm going to be super busy Saturday, Sunday. So I need to submit by Friday. So here's a very simple weekly agenda that you can think through. Is like you want to check the money, the finances, right? Just very high level, revenue, cash, those type of things. Those are just key things to look at. The pipeline check, any deliver capacity that you need to check. Team check, right? Is your team able to complete the work as needed, as requested, as allocated? And then what are the next week's top 3 things that you as a CEO will focus on? All right. So I want to regroup again. We had the morning routine, we had the evening routine, and then we just did the weekly CEO routine. Do you feel empowered? You better feel empowered. Okay. The other thing that I think sometimes we totally forget about is protecting our time and the things that are non-negotiables, right? So non-negotiables, could be obviously your CEO time. That's very important. Otherwise, how are you going to expand the business? It could be sales time. If you're the only salesperson, that could be something that you would be, making sure to protect. So that's not going to be moved. Another thing could be health and family, right? It's very important. In my calendar, I have health and family time absolutely blocked up, and it's not going to be moved unless it's an emergency. My children drop off, school drop off, pick up, drop off. Those are like, I can't move them. I have to do it. So it's important. So think about it. If everything is flexible, nothing is really important. So you want to really pick and choose what is really important to you, and it's non-negotiable. It has to stay on the calendar. And here, let's just take a few more examples. Your sales blocked, the time that you're going to make calls or you're going to take calls with prospects, that's going to be sacred. Even if you're busy, you're going to have to do it, right? If you're the only salesperson, you have to do it. Your CEO review, that's another sacred time where you want to be able to prevent fires, not just turn down fires, right? When you're planning ahead, you're ahead of the game. You're anticipating certain things. So for example, I look at my calendar already just earlier. I looked at it. I look at it like all the way through June, mid-June actually, because I have so many different travel coming up, and I have conference this weekend. I am traveling next week for a family thing. And I think a few weeks after that, I have a mastermind I'm attending. And then after that, I'm speaking at the FI Senior Conference. So it's like the next 4 or 5 weeks, it's already packed. So I want to make sure that the things that needs to be done for each and every week, I'm way ahead. I know what to anticipate. If I need to have a team member take on something, I can plan ahead, right? The health block is also sacred, right? You don't want to be burned out and get ill, because if you get ill, who's going to run the business? If you don't have a team running it for you, then it's even worse. So if you're a one person business owner, or one person with some contractors, like, who's going to run the business? So you want to make sure that you take care of your your health unit. You want to spend time working out or eating healthy, and setting aside time for some meditation, a Bible study, whatever actually helps you mentally and physically be well. Okay. All right. So we are at that time where I asked you the profit question of the week. So what is one daily and one weekly routine that if you changed it for the next 90 days, right? You incorporate it and change what you're doing to what you want to do. How would that impact your business? All right. One daily and one weekly routine that if you actually started doing them in the next 90 days, it would impact your business the most. Okay. Now, time for the actionable items. Number 1, design your daily startup and shutdown routines. What do they look like? What are the things that you're going to look at in the morning and in the evening? And then I want you to schedule your CEO review time on the calendar. Which day is it going to be? Saturday, Sunday? Is it on a Monday? Whichever day works for you. And then pick one non-negotiable and protect it for the next 4 weeks. Is it going to be your health, your family time, whatever that is? Pick it. It's a non-negotiable. It's not going to be moved, and you're going to protect it. Okay. All right. So I hope this was, very helpful to you. Again, I always want to make sure that every episode brings you true insights and actionable items that you can implement into your life, your business, as a CEO, as a business owner, and then to help you expand your business and empower your potential. So with that, on the next episode, we're going to be moving towards pillar number 12, which is about wealth creation, exit, and legacy planning, and then how to make sure all this works actually translate into long-term freedom for you and your family. All right. So with that, I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your day.